Hi everyone, this is Miriam Naime from the Alan Turing Institute at Newcastle University. Welcome to our Supergen Smart Charging webinar. The webinar is an activity of the Vehicle Grid Integration Group at the Alan Turing Institute. The Turing is the national institute in the UK for artificial intelligence and data science. And one of the objectives of the institute is to apply data science method to real-world problems, such as what we are doing at the Vehicle Grid Integration Group, where we are supporting the decarbonization of transport and electricity infrastructure. We have recorded several episodes of the webinar so far, and you can find them by searching for Smart Charging Webinar, where you have a landing page with the slides and also a YouTube playlist. We hosted speakers who talk about national and regional rollout strategies for charging infrastructure, communication protocols for electric vehicles, and also cybersecurity. Next week, we are hosting colleagues from Idaho National Lab, and they will talk about the cybersecurity aspects of fast charging, and they will also talk about a platform they developed called Caldera for charging infrastructure simulation. In today's episode, we're hosting Karim L Anaya from the Energy Policy Research Group at the University of Cambridge. Karim is a senior research associate, and she has over 15 years of experience working in the regulatory domain. She advised several organizations and companies such as the United Nations and the World Bank, and she is currently contributing to shaping our future electricity network regulations and local electricity markets. So without further ado, Karim, over to you.
So thanks for the introduction, Miriam. So what I am going to present here is our latest work with SSEN, which is one of the DNOs in the UK. It's about the development and regulation of local electricity markets. No, next slide, please. So these are the contents of the talk that I will give today. So next slide, please, because I think we don't have too much time. So what exactly is this? It's the name of the project is Merlin. So it's a joint work with my colleague Michael Pollitt, also from EPRG. We are doing this with SSEN and other key participants here. So this Merlin aims to develop a transition energy market system that maximize economics network investment. No, so they are planning, or they are going to test a kind of local electricity market in the northern part of GB, and also in Oxfordshire. Now here, EPRG is the academic party. So we are in charge of writing some reports as a result of our participation here. Today I will talk about the third one, the three first ones. No, two of them relate to the current development of local electricity markets in 7 jurisdictions, and this covers 13 use cases. And the third one is more related to exactly the regulatory environment that may or not encourage the development of these markets. Next, please. So, so this is in this slide we can see which exactly are the use cases that are part of this first and second report. So we have a mix of cases here, as you can see. Most of them are new, recent, because we think that regulation is changing a lot. So we wanted to pick, the recent the developments. We also observe interesting diversity, in the types of services and participants in flexibility markets. As you can see, we have many cases. We have explored many cases from GB. Some of them are business as usual. Some others are still trials. No. So can we go to the next one, please? So what we wanted to do with all this, we wanted to have an idea of the development of local flexibility markets with a particular interest in the solutions that they are currently using in the kind of market design that they are also proposing, and also in the new business models, which means exactly how what are the participants or what are the key agreements that the DNOs or the DSOs may have to participate in this kind of local flexibility markets. Now we look at the way how the DNOs or the DSOs are value flexibility, because this is going to be a kind of reference for the selection of the best options. We also look at the most and least common trends that we have now, and what is still missing. Finally, we also explore some potential regulatory changes that may encourage the development of local flexibility markets. Next, please. So this slide shows just a bit of what we have collected for each use case. I mean, we have much more, as you can see from the first report that it has already been published at the project website. So there is an interesting diversity in many aspects, in terms of participants, in terms of business models. Some of the DNOs or DSOs, for instance, use independent platforms for flexibility markets. Some others just give the option to this via aggregators, and also we can see the different price rules with pay as bid is the most common here, and also the use of the different ways how they are valuing flexibility. Some of them provide a maximum, reference price that is based on a kind of cost benefit analysis. As we can see here, in the case of UK PN, for instance, they provide a kind of range of prices, especially for the procurement of flexibility in high voltage, and also a fixed one for the procurement of flexibility in lower voltage. So, well, this is we have collected for each case study. As I said, there is more. So feel free to take a look if you can at the report that it has already been published in the playbook website. Next, please. So what are the main findings from this first and second report? Well, we have, in terms of the use of smart architectures, there are different types, different bespoke and third-party platforms. Many of them use them, some others, such as, for instance, NEDIS use a specific type of solution. Also, Abacon with a specific type of solution that is based on smart meters. So there are many different, smart architectures that we can see. But what we consider that is a key point is that regardless of the sophistication of this, the solution should be really easy for participants to understand and to access. In the second point, we have the market design for flexibility service. So there are many designs. So we have here an interesting and diverse ways of doing this. But what we have noticed that is that there is a need, of course, of clear rules, and which ideally should be, if it's possible, align with the current rules that the DSO or that the DNOs may have. This is important for consistency, for standardization. Then we see how exactly the DNOs or DSOs are valuing flexibility. So there are different ways. So some of them just have a fixed price. Some others value this based on cost benefit analysis and more. So what we can see here that there is also a need to have a kind of a standard CBA methodology, and with some incorporation of social values as well. In terms of business models, there are the different channels, the different ways. As I said before, we have a combination of participants. Some of them may involve the use of independence platforms, like here, for instance, we have Big Law. Some others in Netherlands, for instance, there is Copax there, Norway Notes. But what is important here, we cannot say which is that one is better than the other. But the key point here is that the distribution utilities must by themselves identify the sources of value and to market test them. In terms of most common and less common trends, most of the use case studies that we have evaluated here, most of them are concentrated to solve congestion issues. They offer different kind of services to be procure. Pay as bit is among them is one of the most used as well. But what we cannot see too much, for instance, is the use of pay as clear, with only some case, which is, I think that is one of the projects at the WPD test in phase 2, along with Cornwall local energy markets. And the other thing is that, for instance, other services such as the procurement of reactive power is also less common. No? So what exactly we recommend for Merlin is to try something different, but obviously this will depend on their availability and participation. No? But we would like to try here, for instance, with Merlin, it's a kind of reverse clock auction with customer revenue benefit target. No? Finally, we think that regulation can help to develop, a more sustainable local flexibility markets. No? So we have identified here a set of potential regulatory topics. No? So the role of regulation is explained better in the next report, which I will start now. Questions raised here. Okay, so now we go to the next kind of the next report, which is, as I said before, is more about the environment, the regulatory environment. No? Also, with the consideration of the 7 jurisdictions that are part of that were part of report 1 and report 2. So what exactly we did here? We designed 2 questionnaires, one with general view, and the other with use cases specific based on the use cases that we have already evaluated. So based on our main findings from the use cases, we have a list of potential regulatory aspects that may be relevant, and we complement this list also with some review of the current literature. No? So what we want to capture here is what exactly has been done or has been changed, which could be relevant for the deployment of flexibility markets, and also for the use of flexibility by the DSOs, even though it cannot be always via the market. What is current under consideration? So what exactly is doing, and what they are planning to do? Because now there are a lot of consultations related to many topics. No, what we want to make clear here is that this is not exactly a representative survey, no, because it's just a short questionnaire that where we want just to capture a general impression. We have a really good rate of responses, so we have 18 out of 23. No, so the way how we discuss this is at country level. So for many of the questions that we had here was, just to were a set of multi options, and some others just to say yes or no. So if at least one of the participants confirm any existing change or changes being considered or changes that should be considered, we mark this response as yes. So we can say that in most of the cases we had a kind of agreement in the responses. Next page, please. So this is the list of regulatory topics that we explore here. As you can see, it's from 1 to 12. Also, we gave the participants the option to write any other regulatory topic that they may consider relevant here, no? And in the same slide here below, we also have the summary of the responses to the questionnaires that we get. So you can see that we have here an interesting, very diverse type of respondents. So we have regulators, we have the DNOs, we have energy associations, and also in the independent platforms. And we also have some one expert. So this is the summary. Next, please. So this is just this is the way how we discuss each of the regulatory topic. I mean, there, as I said before, there are 12 here. So we discuss this at country level. I just, I just show here 3 of them, which were the most voted in terms of relevance. No, so one of the questions, for instance, that we ask here is, can you please mark or the three top regulatory aspects that you consider that are really relevant for the deployment of local flexibility markets? This is what we got. So here we have only 3 of them, but in the report, which we expect to publish soon, we have discussed every topic, and we have also summarized the responses that we get from them. No, so in terms of the 3 most important are the revenues incentives. This is very important. So what we can observe here are that the DSO are not exactly encouraged to use flexibility as an alternative option. No? Even though we have already some very sophisticated models, no? Such here Rio, for instance, I think that is one of the most sophisticated, and also in Netherlands, no? But what exactly the DSOs are trying to say, especially from Netherlands and from Germany, that the way how exactly they are regulated is not exactly encouraging them to use flexibility, no? Because one of the points that they made is that those costs are the way how those costs are recovered plays exactly an important role on this. No, the second is network tariff is structure, and also in this part we have included the connection charges. No. So there is an interesting discussion here of exactly how more tariffs that that they are that very more that are closer to real time. How exactly this will interact with the use of flexibility, no, by the DSO or by the DNOs, no. Many of the regulators said that they have done some studies about this, but they say that now they are not ready to move to the next step, no, because the benefits are not exactly seen more than the cost, that all the cost that this will incur. And the other thing, which is also interesting, is that moving to this kind of tariffs with a more complexity to the current system, no. But we also observe an interesting proposal, no, in Australia, when in order to manage the excess of solar power that they are having now in the midday, so they are curtailing generators. They used to do this. They used to have a kind of cap. I think that was 3 megawatts per hour. Well, there was a cap, but now they are moving to it was a fixed cap. Now they are moving to a more dynamic one, no? So this is an interesting solution, and it's quite simple, but this is especially in this happening in this jurisdiction, no? And then we have the market design. No, the market design is something that is we have observed a lot of experimentation here. nothing is we cannot say that this market design is better than the other, no, because at the end there is a lot of dependency in the deployment of there here. So this is just a short summary of what we have, you know, per type of regulatory topic. So here, considering that we have a large number of respondents here in GB, so we wanted to explore a little bit more what is happening in GB. No, in terms of the top three regulatory changes or aspects, we have that there is a high level of consensus, especially for utilities revenue incentives, and also the interactions, more interactions and coordination between the DSO and DSO. We also can see that the third one is related to market design for local flexibility markets. Now so this is the reply that we have here in GB per type of participants. No? So so let's move to the next one. As I said before, we also gave the participants the chance to write any other relevant regulatory changes, no? that they find that they believe that can help also to the deployment of this market. So here we have the list. Many of them are from GB. But what we can observe here is that many of the recommendations can be have a potential relation with some of the topics that we have already identified. For instance, the second topic, which is innovation funding sandboxes. So it's a bit related with the incentives that the DNOs can, you know, have, or that are having now for the deployment of these markets. No, some models, for instance, if we are talking about the exclusivity of ESO contracts as well, it's quite related with also with the coordination that should exist between the DSOs and the DSOs. No, so we have a long list here. So I will move to the next slide, please. And here we have all the changes, all the regulatory topics that we have evaluated in this third report. So we can see that that the level of relevance or is not exactly the same across all jurisdictions. But what is exactly clear is that utilities revenue incentives, network tariffs structure, and also market designs are key points for most of them. No, next one, please. So this is the last part, the last bit. So what we observe in terms of flexibility markets, that even though there are very sophisticated, highly developed, you know, incentives, such as, for instance, in in the UK or in Netherlands, it still remains not clear as to whether they are cost effective as a sustainable scale. No, it can work as a trial, as a test, but we are not exactly ready to say, okay, this will work in a bigger scale. The other thing is the use of tariffs that are closer to real time, or we can also call them dynamic network tariffs, have been considered in many jurisdictions, but the practicality of their implementation remains still unclear. In terms of the standardization of flexibility services or products, we have observed that many of them are doing this. I mean, for instance, here in the UK, we are doing a good progress with the identification of standardized, products. But what still remains unclear is whether this is the optimal way to handle, customer willingness to pay, and maybe it could be good, but the consideration of the assets characteristics instead, which is what exactly one of the participants notes is doing. In terms of market design, there are many trials, ways to do it. It's not exactly defined, so it is still a work in progress. An interesting point here is when we ask about peer-to-peer trading, most of them say no. This doesn't matter because it's something that the DSO is not going to procure for itself, which is true. However, I think that if we are thinking about the DSO as a neutral market facilitator, the P2P trading, it also can be an option, and also it can help, to have to the deployment of secondary markets. Here, for instance, with Merlin, there are two peer-to-peer services that will be tested. Next, please. So what exactly we have observed that, this is very, from the respondent, from the responses that we get, there is an increased coordination between the TSOs and DSOs, in most of the places. However, there is also some signs of active conflict between them, which is this is especially in the case of Australia, when the DSOs and the DSOs have not exactly defined the way how to manage who is in charge of of the, for instance, of the procurement of flexibility services to solve congestion issues. The other thing is that whether we ask them whether it would be an issue whether if the DSOs are in charge of procuring flexibility on behalf of the DSO, and we could see that this is not exactly even relevant for most of the respondents outside GB, And finally, in terms of the common methodology, many of them are working on this to evaluate flexibility solutions. What we have recommended here, and also which is in line with what exactly others are doing, which is in the case, for instance, of New York, there is a specific cost benefit analysis methodology, which is recommended there by the regulator. So it's also to include social aspects, for instance, such as the impact of carbon, or such as the impact of the losses reduction, and more things. That's it. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much, Karim. There are some questions already, and I encourage the participants to leave questions in the chat box, and I'll read them out. Let me stop sharing.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So some of the things that came up during your talk. Do the DNOs or the DSOs have enough visibility on their network? And do they have the right tools to allow them to know which parts of the network will benefit from flexibility service provisions and which part of the network will need traditional reinforcement?
Yeah, the point is that I think that you made a good point here. No, the point with the DNOs, how exactly it is now, is the issue of visibility of there. No, they don't have too much visibility of there. So if you don't have too much visibility of there, you exactly don't know they. I mean, if you can use them, if you can make use of the kind of flexibility that they can give you, So this is a main issue now, no? And the other thing is that in terms of, for instance, with Merlin, Merlin is also trying to develop a tool for planning, planning for better use, obviously, of the current resources that they can take advantage. But the key point is whether or not they have the visibility of there, because in the evaluation of network investments, the decision to opt for one solution, which can be, as you said, business as usual, or which can be, for instance, to reinforce the network, or maybe use flexibility from there that that is there. So this is a key point, and this is also why via Merlin we have working on a specific CBA methodology for this.
So my understanding is there is still a gap before we start asking to procure flexibility, of knowing where flexibility makes sense and where business as usual reinforcement makes sense. And key to this is data. And
yes, it's data. It's
lack of monitors at, for example, LV. What is the role of smart meter in increasing the visibility of the LV network? And do DNOs are close to have access to that smart meter data? The way.
Yeah, exactly. So smart meters now when we ask this thing to one of the respondents from GB, especially for big Picloflex. I mean, because many of the DNOs now, have this, are procuring this via Picloflex. They say that by now, due to the kind of resources that they are working with, they don't see the issue of a smart meter now. That, I mean, is fine. However, if we are moving to a world when we are going to expect more participation from residential customers, yes, so we will need more visibility, and so we will need more smart meters that can, provide key data, key information, no?
Yeah.
But it's only if we go to lower levels, no? Yes, like low voltage, for instance.
Comparing to a market at the transmission level, I'm suspecting there'll be fewer players at the local level. Do you think we can reach the same level of competition we have in a market where you'll have automatically more players because it's a bigger area?
Yeah, this is a good thing. To be honest, it will depend first on the level of the quantity of participants that we can have in a specific area, no? Because some of the services are very local. I mean, for instance, if we are talking about constraint management, is so we only can contract or make a kind of agreement with those there, or with those assets, or with those resources that are very, very, in a specific part, area, which is, if we compare this with what exactly the national grid does. So the market where they are most of them are, in white areas. So the location doesn't matter too much, no? So this is an important difference, no, between the, for instance, national grid markets and the markets where the DSOs will can participate. So this is one point, and the other point is whether there, or the asset, or the resource will be able also to or will want to take part, no? Because there can also take part, in this small market, or maybe, as we can see now, national grid is developing new products where there can also participate, no? So in some cases, it can be a kind of a conflict, no? But yeah.
So as is with those local flexibility market, it depends on the location. It depends.
Yes, it depends on the location. It's
Thank you.
very locational.
Yeah. We have a question on what do you mean with social values?
Yeah.
Value of flexibility. And then Reese Williams expanded a bit and asked you maybe if you can read this and add on it.
I mean, yeah, so question one and question two is very much related. So Reese is from SSCN, so we are working with him. So in terms of social values, we mean those that are not exactly the conventional values that we consider in the CVA, for instance, the cost of assets, or the cost of the services, but more they are related to what exactly to the benefits or to the cost to the society, no? So we are talking about carbon reduction because some of the solutions, some of the flexibility, solutions can be provided by renewables, for instance. So if this is the case, so we can have a kind of carbon reduction. The other is there is an interesting point here to the value of community generation, no? So we are trying to create a kind of benefit, no, that relate to this, no. What exactly is that this is something that is trial in New York and aim to encourage the participation of more flexibility services, but from renewables, no? So so this is the kind of social value that we refer here, which is also in line with the methodology that ENA is proposing here, no? So it's the consideration also of some social value.
Thank you. You mentioned the use of different third-party platforms, and recently this week there was a release by WPD mentioning that the DNOs are collaborating to deliver flexible power, building on a platform that WPD is already using. Do you have any comments on this?
Yes, I think that they refer to the latest. Well, first of all, WPD is one of the few DNOs that are experimenting different ways to procure flexibility services. Now they have their own. I think that the name of the platform is Flexible Power. So so they have this platform, but they have also a different channel. Is via Flex, and they have also trying a bit with local with Cornwall local energy market platform. So the new release that they made, I think that it's related with the new project that they have with nodes, where they are trying to test a kind of short-term market for procuring flexibility service, no? Because now what we have here, at least in the UK, it's a bit of long term, no? We are talking about months, maybe 6 months for 1 year. So but now I think that they are testing something new here. And this is also what we are going to do with Merlin.
Yeah. Last question, because I realize we're already 1 minute over time. Any examples of already happening conflicts between TSO and DSO interaction?
Yes, this is this was one of the points made. For instance, for some of the DNOs and some of the independence platforms that they have observed some conflicts where they decided not to participate because they have already, some agreements with National Grid. So for some specific ones, they cannot offer both. I mean, the assets cannot be, but I mean, they cannot participate in both markets for some specific services. There are some, only for some of them. Yeah. For instance, this is the case, one of the latest service that National Grid release. I think that is OCDM, I don't remember the name. So they said explicitly that if you are providing flexibility to the DNO, you cannot be part of this. No? I suppose that is due to the specifications that to the response that they expect from them. No, so yes, there are still some conflicts. Yeah.
You mentioned the DNO split. Do you have any information on that?
And no, I mean, this is something that is still it's still in evaluation here. In most of in most also in most part, yes, exactly.
What could be a DSO role, not a DNO role? This has not been defined yet.
No, it has not been defined yet.
Okay. Yeah, but we could see a future where there is a split.
Well, many of them, well, some of them say that no, but yeah, I mean, it's still, you know, it's a working progress, no? Yeah.
Great. Karim, would you like to add anything else? And where can people find more about your work, including the reports?
Yeah, first of all, thanks very much for being here. So the first report it's already, you know, in the project website. So we're expecting to release the second one soon, and the third one, which is the one that it's more about regulation, will also be published hopefully by next month. We have still to do 2 more reports, which is more related to the economics of the flexibility market. So we are going to use the CBA methodology here for evaluating this with Merlin.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing with us about your work.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.